Avengers! Assemble. Welcome back to the channel. It's the Preventers here, guys, and welcome back to another Marvel Future Fight video. And today we're going to be taking a look at the X-Men update patch notes. I'm sorry that I'm a little late on this video, guys. We had some issues with our laptop, but we're all good now. So let's get straight into today's video. Before we get into the content, though, and the patch notes, I want to let you know that I finally signed in on the forums on my actual account. I will start posting every time a new video drops and whatnot. I've already made a couple posts if you haven't seen them already. So if you want to go follow me, it's the Preventers YouTube. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way, let's get straight into the patch notes for this update. So this update will be a rolling patch. It will come out tonight. It will be less than 10 hours from when this video is dropping. It'll be 8 p.m. Pacific time, meaning 11 p.m. Eastern time, for those of you in America. Anywhere else you're gonna have to check, because on my forums it won't tell me. Anyways, like I said, it's a rolling patch, so there will not be any maintenance or anything. It'll just automatically download as you log into the game, and it might come out 30 minutes earlier. The smaller mid-month updates usually do come out earlier, depending on how fast they have everything done. So let's dive straight into it and waste no time. They say, "Greetings, agents. This is CM Fragment, Marvel Future Fight. We introduce these two men who hunt their enemies with sharp attacks and bodies that regenerate endlessly. Wolverine has become Omega Wolverine with his new uniform and Tier 4. Sabertooth will show the brutally of the wild with his new uniform and Tier 3. Check out the new skills and powers by downloading the patch." And then we have the times here for the patch and whatnot. So we get our first look at these two new uniforms. Now to show you on the events page, we got a better look at them. And I gotta say, I'm loving Wolverine's look with like the tech kind of data stuff going on in the yellow, and then I love the black patching with that. And then Sabertooth looks kind of like Craven, but Sabertooth at the same time. I'm kind of digging that look as well. But that's what it looks like if you wanted to know. But let's go ahead and take a look at what they actually did for both of these new uniforms. So Wolverine stays basically the same everything: combat, superhero, weapon master, healing abilities, mutant, all that stays the same. His uniform effect, which is pretty interesting, is increased chain hit damage by 50%, increased skill damage by 40%, bonus damage by 40%, and then he has an activation rate when his HP is below 30%, he recovers 100% of his HP, but the cooldown's 100 seconds. So for PvP, this doesn't do much because you're most likely not going to be in a 100-second fight. At least a character is not going to last 100 seconds. But in PvE, it'll come in pretty helpful. He'll recover his HP very quickly, and you'll get a lot of extra damage here every 100 seconds. So that's actually pretty cool. The timing might be a little odd, but we'll see how it goes. He has, on his ultimate skill, he has bleed. He has some ignored target dodge, 80% chance to penetrate with super armor, all damage immunity, invincibility for 10 seconds, accumulation, which is good. 1% increase all basic attack and pure damage accumulation, and then some physical damage, 130% of physical attack. Then his passives stay, they changed them up a little bit, but they stay relatively the same with the heal, 20% ignore defense, activation rate when HP is below 99%, recovers 6% of HP, so he's basically always healing, but that makes sense because it's Wolverine. And then his Tier 2 passive, just super armor is the only other thing that I think they really changed there. Otherwise, he still has the crit damage and increased guaranteed critical rate. Then we get into his skills, and as you can see here already, the 5th skill is definitely going to be the most interesting because it has the most. They basically moved everything over there, but we're still going to go through every skill here. So on the 1st skill, he has bleed, silence, and some physical damage. Those are basically all just going to be the bleed, stuns, and whatnot are just going to help with certain smaller effects. Nothing too crazy. He has some physical damage and stun on the second skill. 8-second cooldown, by the way, on the first skill, and 9-second cooldown on the second skill. The cool thing about the second skill is that he does keep the they move the V pad to the second skill now, so we're gonna see how that works and how good it is tonight. Then we're gonna have bleed and invincibility again, and an increased proc basically on his third skill. Cooldown time 13 seconds. Then his fourth skill is gonna be a 13-second cooldown with bleed, paralysis, which is gonna be good for ABX and ABL if he or ABX I should say. If he competes at that at all. Physical damage, and that's going to be cooldown 13 seconds as well. Then for the fifth skill, this is where things get very interesting. There's a lot going on here, so let's break it down. He has bleed. He has decreased recovery rate by negative 50%. And then he has an incapacitation, removes active buff from target. So he takes away some buffs from characters and decreases the recovery rate by 50%. So that's pretty interesting. We're going to have to see how well that pairs up in PvP. Then he has decreased debuff duration by 90%. So he's not going to be getting debuffed for 7 seconds, which is pretty powerful for PvP again. He's looking very PvP-centric here, if you can't already tell. Ignores target dodge rate by 50%. 60%, that's again 7 seconds, just like the debuff. 60% chance to penetrate with super armor. Increased basic attack, that's another just proc and crit rate. Increased basic damage by 40%. Physical damage, 50% of physical attack. And the cooldown is 16 seconds. So the biggest thing here is definitely the decrease, debuff, and dodge rate here. And of course, the remove active buffs. Those are going to be huge for him in PvP. The problem is that it seems like they poured everything into his fifth skill, that I'm not sure what other skill you're going to be able to use, because against characters that have revives, like Jean, like Adam Warlock, like Gore, you'll be able to kill one of them, I feel like, with the fifth skill. It looks powerful enough to do that. But then what do you do after that? The fifth skill is on a 16-second cooldown. Even with skill cooldown and whatnot max, it'll probably get shortened a little bit, but still on a very long cooldown. And you're going to have to kill them before Jean pops her second skill or fifth skill, before Adam Warlock pops his second skill, before Gore pops his second skill. And I just don't see another skill here that has enough of these sort of stats and buffs to be able to take them out. Maybe the second skill with the V-pad will allow you to get away when you're manually playing enough time to get your fifth skill back, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how exactly he's going to fare in a timeline. On paper, the general consensus right now is that he looks good. He seems a little flawed already, just like I said, because it's all on his fifth skill, but who knows? In game, it's different than it is on paper. Just like in real life, on paper is always different from in real life. So one of these other skills might have what it takes to take down Jean, Gore, or Adam. So we'll have to wait and see. But those are his main competitions, obviously. I think he'll have a good time against Spider-Man for sure. And Carnage. I think he'll be able to take him out easy. But I think Adam is going to be a big problem, and so is Jean. Depending on how it actually is in game. If on paper is right, then he's only going to be able to take him out with that fifth skill, but he's still looking very promising. Then we took a look at Sabertooth. He stays a supervillain, so yeah, he is a supervillain. I don't know why in the sneak peek they called him a hero. He's still a supervillain. He's a combat, pure evil, and agility abilities there. His uniform effect is increased chain hit damage, guard break, and decreased basic damage received by 40%. He has bleed, decreased recovery rate, which is pretty cool, and physical damage and stun on his first skill with a 7-second cooldown. On his second skill here, he has a ton of stuff. This is where it gets interesting for Sabertooth, is his second skill. You can see the amount of font and whatnot here is similar to his fifth skill, so you can tell which skills here are the best for some of these characters. He's got decreased recovery rate, is similar to what Wolverine has up here as well, except this is a minus 40%. He has stun, silence, mockery, which is interesting. We haven't seen this in a while. It forces opponents to focus attack on the caster. Cannot be removed with the remove of all debuffs. So it gets the character kind of confused for a sec and doesn't allow them to attack, so he can't be attacked for, I think it's about 7 seconds. I'm not sure whether it's going to show the time. Let's continue here. Increase attack by 10%, plus 10%. There's a 100% chance to receive super armor and invincibility, of course. 40% chance to penetrate super armor. Removes all debuffs for a second. And then barrier for 3 seconds. and physical damage. So cooldown 9 seconds. Yeah, I'm assuming it's only gonna the mockery is only gonna stay for like maybe half of 9 seconds, so like 5 or 4. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But it does look pretty spicy. And his second skill, basically, he just can't get hit by anyone, so that's gonna be pretty cool. Now the thing is, he's a tier 3, and I'll be honest with you. Before I looked at the patch notes, I kind of just overlooked him and was like, okay, he's probably just going to be overshadowed by Wolverine, so there's nothing going to be special. But his second skill makes him interesting for sure. I mean, he could be like a Gore where he's a tier 3 and he can compete with all these tier 4 gods in timeline battle. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, on paper, it can only tell you so much. But on his third skill here, he has Incapacitation, Paralysis, Super Armor, Increase all basic attack and physical damage. On the fourth skill, he has Bleed, decrease recovery rate again, which is interesting. Stun, invincibility, physical damage, and increased skill damage. On his fifth skill here, finally, oh, and by the way, those were two 15-second cooldowns and 15-second cooldown on the fifth skill as well. We have Bleed, decreased recovery rate again. Paralysis, decrease all basic defense, ignore target dodge, increase all basic damage, and physical damage. So yeah, you can see he's purely PvP. He looks interesting. Like I said, we can't really say much else. It looks like he could affect the meta, but we'll have to wait and see because he only goes to tier 3, and we know that not many tier 3s can impact the meta like Gore and whatnot. Then we look at Wolverine's tier 4. He has a increase all basic attack by 80%. I'm kind of tired of seeing that. They kind of throw that on every tier 4. It's good for PvE. It definitely makes them clear War Boss Legend and stuff a lot faster, but it is kind of boring to see it over and over again. But his other effects do get interesting. He has an increased active buff effect by 20%, meaning basically all those little buffs we were talking about, the decreased recovery rate and whatnot, they're going to get increased by 20% for a total of 7 seconds. So that's pretty interesting. If you can get that Fisco off while you have the tier 4 up, it's going to be pretty spicy. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of what gets slept on, because I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this. But I can see this being the reason that he becomes meta is like, whoa, okay, he's good at level 80, but why is he so good at tier 4? I think this might end up being the reason. We'll have to wait and see how well it affects him, but it looks pretty cool. He also has a 60% increase of max HP, because why not? Give him more healing. And then Sabertooth here, he has a tier 3, and this is what it looks like. It looks cool, but it's pretty typical. I mean, I don't know what else they would have gave him. I kind of think we were all assuming it was going to be something like that. Something similar to Wolverine, where they just kind of go crazy and then just slash everywhere. He has Bleed, decreased recovery rate again, Stun, Fear, Fracture, Paralysis, 80% chance to penetrate Super Armor, Invincibility, increased basic damage, and physical damage. All nice stats there, so that'll be pretty interesting. He also gets an artifact, and it is identical to Wolverine, which makes a lot of sense because they're basically the same person, just one evil, one good. So it is HP does not drop below 1, recovers 50% of HP after the effect ends. So yeah, it's going to be another PvP artifact. So you can tell that they're trying to make him a PvP powerhouse. So we'll see how it goes. Some other small improvements that they made, the biggest ones are basically these two, and then there's just a bunch of bug fixes. Is they changed World Boss Legend for Kang. Instead of having to clear a 100-second challenge, it is now clear a 150-second challenge. Then instead of 150-second challenge, it's now a 180-second challenge. And I feel like I got kind of scammed. So if you didn't know, I was trying to get the 100-second challenge on stage 9, and I was basically 15 to 10 seconds off every time, and I just couldn't do it. But I had every other challenge done, and there was an event going on that literally ended before the patch notes came out, or before the reset, so 2 hours after the patch notes came out, actually. And they had a sale so where you can unlock the World Boss Legends for cheaper. So it was only 100 crystals. And I was like, you know what? Might as well just do it because I want to push up higher in Kang, and I don't want to take forever here sitting on stage 9 trying to get this 100-second clear. Little did I know that I decided to do that, and then like 2 hours before the reset, I see the patch notes, and boom, they changed it. So now it's 150 seconds. So I could have got it done easily, but instead I wasted 100 crystals. So yeah, their timing of the event was perfect, making it so that it ends only when the patch notes have been out for like a couple hours. So smart on their part, but I fell for it. Unfortunately, I did spend some crystals on that. Then the other big thing to talk about is that they changed some of the daily challenges. Now, instead of a win with 70% of your character's HP, now it is 50%, and same with the weekly. So that's pretty cool because a lot of people had been complaining about that. And then there's just some Challenger League game fixes. The only other thing is the update celebration event. These are the optionals if you're looking. Wolverine has Thor, Jane Foster, old Adam Warlock, Punisher, really old Spider-Man, and Rescue. So the only one really here that's decent still is Thor, Jane Foster, I guess, and Rescue. These three are terrible, and even these two are pretty mediocre, so yeah, that kind of sucks. Sabertooth got old Professor X, Makari, Hulk, Deadpool, and old Luna Snow, and old Deadpool, actually. So really the only good one here is Hulk, and Makari is mediocre. The rest of these are garbage, but those are the uniform options if you were wondering. So these will also be the uniforms that are on sale if you do want to buy any of these. I only recommend Hulk, basically, here. The rest are pretty much falling out of the meta. And then there's a 20% discount on Sabertooth. If you wanted to know, before it was 2,500, now it's 2,000. And you also have to buy his bios afterwards to be able to get him to tier 2. So it'll be 1,250. Now it will be 1,000. So in total, you'll probably have to spend about 3,000 crystals plus another 4,050, or plus another 1,050, sorry, putting you at 4,050 for his uniform. And then there's just some growth events and whatnot in our typical gold stores and whatnot, and login rewards. But that is pretty much it for the patch notes, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I can't wait to dive into this update. Not sure if I'll be live yet. Keep an eye on my channel. I'll have the stream schedule come up if I am going to be live. Not 100% sure yet because I'm still trying to tier 3 Wolverine because I'm short on bios. So I don't really have much to do, but other than check them out in the sort of skill preview and buy one of Wolverine's uniforms. So that's basically all I can do. So we'll see. I'll think about it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to go live. Then maybe I will, just to mess around with them and see what the mid-month update's all about. But yeah, that'll do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel, guys. Also wanted to let you know that in the description, I have put my Discord IGN in there. So if you want to message me for anything, any questions that you may have, feel free, because I do get a lot of comments and people asking for character or like account reviews and help and whatnot. I gladly do it through there. So that is in the description for every video now if you're interested. But anyways, that'll do it for today's video, guys. Can't wait to see you for the next video on the update review and or a live stream, depending if we do it. Take care, everyone.